Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another interview on the JayBee and Milly channel. I am JayBee, and of course with me is Milly.
Hi.
And the special guest who will be interviewing today is Emily Brundige and Aaron Preacher. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining today.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So it is incredible to have you here. It's just amazing, and the first time we've almost done, I don't want to call it a double date without, because that will sound a bit awkward, but almost
You
this
can
kind
call
of
it a double
format. But it's really good, and of course, people watching this will remember you from the credits of the Lego Scooby Doo Beach movie, and amongst other things as well. So I want to go to the start.
I'm just kidding.
I think so. I'm confident. I'm quite confident. But in terms of building up that whole career, to go back to the beginning, how did the both of you get into writing? Be it, the love for writing as a child or the career aspect of writing?
Oh, yeah. Love as a child, just playing pretend a lot, making up stories. I had a big imagination, and writing was one of my outlets growing up, and I stuck with it. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the same as well. Yeah. Do you want to talk about like more of the professionally how we got into it? Or?
Sure. Yeah. So I went to a school called UC Berkeley for undergrad, where I studied art and creative writing, and then I went to animation school called CalArts for a master's degree in experimental animation. And when I was there, I created a short called Pubertina, and I eventually made a web series based on that short. So the web series Pubertina, which is still on YouTube. Now it's like a decade old, but it got millions of views, and I started to be invited to pitch shows to different kids animation studios and adult. And that's kind of how I got started. And eventually I realized that writing suited me best, and as opposed to storyboarding or any other type of job.
Right. And I guess I got my start. I wrote for, there's a comedy theater here in Los Angeles called the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. And I wrote on a sketch team there for a few years. And then after that, we had a mutual friend who invited me to pitch at Nickelodeon, right? And that's just sort of how I got started, I guess. And I've been pitching ever since. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, they're both fantastic stories. And in regards to getting into the industry and things like that, was there any shows or writers that you feel inspired you in particular?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to do this thing in school called silent reading. I think it was a way for the teachers to kind of check out for an hour while the kids did their own thing. And I had the script books for Monty Python, and I read those pretty much every day in elementary school, and yeah, I kind of, I guess, absorbed that, and yeah, that's sort of how.
Yeah, I'd say before I went to animation school, I was really into like independent animation and underground comics, and I didn't really realize that kids cartoons were kind of doing like more unexpected, quirky comedy. And I saw this show coming out called Flapjack on Cartoon Network, and I just thought it was great. And I kind of like fan attacked the creator at a comic convention, and he very kindly like started to mentor me, and kind of pointed me in the direction of writing versus storyboarding, because he saw that that's where my strengths were. But yeah, I love that show. And then that's kind of like, yeah, what got me excited about this industry.
That's incredible. And I guess in regards to moving on to, more of the Scooby-Doo aspect now, when Millie and I first met, we were quite lucky in that we had very similar stories with Scooby-Doo in terms of growing up watching Zombie Island on VHS tape and stuff like that. And so prior to writing Scooby-Doo Beach Bash in 2017, did you both have similar backgrounds with Scooby-Doo, or was it almost a different? Did one of you maybe introduce it to the other one, and how did that kind of work out?
Well, I think we both just assumed that we've never
Mhm.
we never discussed Scooby Doo before. I mean, other than
It's kind of like everyone knows
everyone
what
knows,
Scooby Doo is, and
Yeah, I mean, my first memory of it is as a kid. There's a local television station that like packaged it together with this awful 60s cartoon called The Three Musketeers. It ran for one season, like 1968, I think, and it would alternate like which one they would show. And I remember like the Scooby Doo days were always like my favorite, and like if I got like a Three Musketeer day, it was like the worst. And yeah, and then I have a younger brother, and he was very into the Scooby Doo home videos and whatnot. So I absorbed it that way as well. And, yeah.
I'll just let Aaron answer that question. But we were excited when we were approached. We had the way we got into it was I had written a script for a show called Teen Titans Go. And then done a Powerpuff Girls Teen Titans Go crossover. And then I think one of the execs at Warner Brothers approached us to do a movie, or just said like, if you guys have any ideas for a Scooby-Doo movie.
Well, they specifically wanted like crossover ideas, right?
Oh.
So they wanted like
I didn't
ideas for
remember
like
that.
Teen
Yeah.
Titan Go, like Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
crossover,
yeah. It was gonna be a Teen Titans
or
Go Scooby-Doo crossover movie, but then it changed. They said we're not doing that
yeah,
anymore.
we outlined that.
Oh yeah, I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that.
There's a-
Yeah. And then they said, so if you have any ideas for a movie, just pitch it to me, pitch it to us, and we'll let you know like if we've done that already or if we like the idea of it. And it
Mhm.
didn't take too long.
No, I think we sent them a list of 5 ideas, and
Yeah.
the idea of, because Emily's a huge Annette Funicello fan, and
Like I love the beach party movies from the 60s. And we just we saw that they hadn't really done that as a
I mean,
genre.
they've done beach movies,
Yeah.
definitely. but
But
as far as like the beach party movie,
yeah. So that was our angle.
I mean, that's really interesting to find out about, because Scooby-Doo have had a long history of crossovers ever since the old 70s show, the second iteration of that Scooby-Doo adventure. And so, do you recall what the whole kind of premise was about with the Teen Titans Go crossover, and exactly why they didn't go down that path?
Oh, I don't remember. I remember,
Remember they made a mecha.
there was
like,
the the
robot.
villain was a robot, or someone dressed as a robot. That's all I can recall about it. There's something, yeah. No, not enough to speak intelligently about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
that's
was a long
understandable.
time ago.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now. That's why you've got such amazing nostalgia for these things. And I mean, on that nostalgia, when you first signed on to do the Scooby-Doo movie, was there a case where you had like this idea in your mind of a particular member of the Scooby-Doo gang that you wanted to focus in on, or did you maybe resonate with one more than the rest of them while working on the movie?
I think it was like figuring out what would be fun roles for each of them based on their personalities.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if there was one that we gravitated towards, is maybe Velma. Just glasses, nerdy, whatnot. I do remember, as far as the one note we got on the first draft was that Scooby didn't have enough lines. I remember that. Yeah, having to do like a rewrite and adding more Scooby lines, because I guess we had neglected.
And also we had to do like a Lego pass
Oh yeah,
because
that
there
was
weren't
really
enough
good.
Lego jokes.
Yeah.
So
That's really
Good.
interesting. So when you were writing
Yeah.
it, were you already aware that the main concept was that it was going to be another Lego Scooby Doo movie, or
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
much did you know
yeah.
about that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I think you answered my question already. I was just kind of asking kind of what brief they'd given you for that.
Oh yeah,
Well, they
actually,
sent us the
yeah,
DVDs.
yeah, they sent us the DVD of the Lego movies, the Lego Scooby Doo movies, and
the Haunted Hollywood and the
yeah, there was a whole
museum
sort of
one.
package. Like they send you the format of Scooby Doo is very, standardized, and you have to follow certain beats. And then there was also, as far as the Lego goes, there were certain they wanted to incorporate certain Lego items into it. Like there's a biplane in the movie, and that's one of the things they wanted in there. And I don't know, they did want a lighthouse, but I don't think that made it in. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't think we got around to the lighthouse now.
Well, it certainly worked out well. And I know you were kind of talking about how you came to be involved with the project, but once you kind of started, discussing ideas and writing, what was that process like? Was it that, you came up with ideas individually? Was there ever any kind of conflicts over concepts if you saw something going in particularly different directions?
No, I mean we're generally pretty easygoing.
We're
as far as our
married, by the way.
Oh yeah, I should mention that. Yeah, married.
Yeah, but yeah, I think for this one,
Yeah, we worked out the outline together.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then I think we just kind of take turns writing, and yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea, like the whole dynamic of just the thought process behind writing something together as a married couple. And I know, like, one of my highlights of doing this show is that I get to do it with Milly, and we've almost at the start maybe a bit clunky, but we've developed our own little sign language in and of itself, to make sure that things flow together properly. So it's kind of amazing, that whole process of working together in that capacity. So are there any highlights from your point of view, like writing together at all?
I think what the way, if I can speak, whereas the way we usually honestly, Aaron did more of the heavy lifting for this project than I did. But normally the way we kind of work together is, I think you pitch a lot of jokes and funny ideas, and I kind of steer the ship a little bit of no, but it needs heart, or it needs.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Is I don't have much heart, I guess, and I'm pretty good at action and
Yeah,
little
that's true.
jokes
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
you're
more
very good at,
big picture kind of
characterization stuff, and heart, making sure things have messages.
Yeah, but I think, we don't always work together, but if there's a project that feels right to do together, then we do.
And so was that a case with this movie where it felt right to work together, or did, say, Warner Brothers approach you both at the same time for this?
I think you definitely had the stronger relationship with
Yeah, with Warner Brothers, because I had written a few scripts for them.
Oh,
already.
was I on Unikitty at that
No,
time?
I don't think
No,
so.
that was
I think that
before
came
Unikitty.
later. But so they approached me, and then I thought that we would do it better as a team. So yeah, they said yes.
Okay, and so can I ask, in terms of kind of the media of, the characters been Lego, did that kind of add any difficulties or benefits or anything to you? I know you were saying that, there's kind of the joke factor to factor in, which of course worked well for you, and of course you were thinking about a story and things like that. So was it that you could perhaps stretch animation further than it would have stretched before in terms of concepts that you could kind of throw around and that kind of thing?
Well, there's certainly inbuilt jokes to them being Lego. There's they can't snap their fingers because they don't have fingers, that kind of thing. So I mean, there was, yeah, certainly stuff to play with there, but there's also a bit of a limitation. A huge Lego joke is like their hair falling off. Like that happens a lot in the Lego movies. I don't know if you've noticed.
Or like their head spinning.
Their head spinning.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Not having knees.
Yeah, not having knees. There was a thing. I'm really glad. I think you talked me out of it. So one of the beach movies from the 60s has this really just horribly sexist opening sequence where it's like a shot of like a woman walking on a beach, but it's just focused on her bottom.
And,
And she's striding down the beach and like all the guys are going, oh, like that. And I thought it would be funny if it was that, but like a Lego butt. And like all the guys going crazy for just this square Lego butt.
I don't remember that. That would have been funny, but yeah, a little
too
edgy, because
racy.
I know you guys enjoy these movies, but I think like the main audience is like 6-year-olds or like 5-year-olds. So yeah.
Yeah, it's certainly something they try to make a consideration too, is like you say, kind of that there quite often is a younger audience that's going to stumble across most Scooby content at some point in time.
Yeah.
So I guess that is something that they do think about. Also, something that kind of we particularly try to keep an eye out for as much as we can is with the Lego movies. Warner Brothers released a few different Lego sets and things like that, particularly for the first movie. In regards to the second movie, do you know if there was ever kind of any new concepts adapted for this, or is there a particular part of the movie that you would have liked to see kind of turned into a Lego set at all?
Well, part of the draw of the premise, for me at least, was like growing up, the Lego sets that I liked the most were the pirates. So I would have liked to have seen, maybe the ship or the captains being made into a set, but yeah. Well, we weren't really expecting much, though.
Yeah.
Although I think didn't there was a DVD set that came with a minifig, and I think it was Fred, I think, wearing his like Hawaiian shirt.
Really?
I think
I
so.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
we never get anything in the UK, so in terms of what we know, it's quite limited. The Lego sets, I don't think we've ever seen one in its box. I think we've seen perhaps like part of one together at a car boot sale, at a tabletop sale.
What?
Other than that,
Really?
we don't get much over here. Like, we've not had proper Scooby merchandise really in toy stores for the best part of about 5 years. So
yeah. A lot of this stuff is all the things I get in trouble for paying on like international postage for. So.
Yes, JayBee, you do.
I mean, eBay, you can
Yeah.
find
Now with the internet, you can find anything. But I didn't know about the minifig though.
Yeah, I think, unless this is just something I dreamed, but I think there was.
If they didn't do it, they should have
wearing a
done.
Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, we'll look into that for sure, because I think a lot of the draw, and maybe that I've always been told from a really young age that I'm the worst victim in the world of easy marketing. So I would always pick up a packet of Pringles if it had Mario on it, for instance. Like that's just, I don't know why I'm like that. I'm just, man, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
so
I
the
think all
corporations
kids
get
are
into
like
it.
that. We have a 4-year-old, and she got into My Little Pony, and she'd want like a gross like juice drink because it had like Pinkie Pie on it. Yeah.
I like how we see all children are like that. And then there was a Pokemon promotion about a year ago for
just a year,
different,
well,
like
less than a year.
like ready-made noodles that you just add water to, had different Pokemon on them. So he was going around the shop. He doesn't eat noodles, but he wanted them because it had Pokemon on them.
But I
Was
guess,
it different Pokemon? Was it collecting them all, or?
oh, I don't
It was
think
just
that
a
was the
picture of
marketing. It
them
was
on the
literally just
front.
ramen noodles and there's a Pikachu next to it.
I see.
There we go. There's that one. But I think that is a lot of the power, for all this like a cynical way of looking at it. Like some movies are brought out, and an add-on to that is, it's being a really good toy commercial in a way. And so, like you say, there were some passes where there weren't enough Lego jokes, and there was maybe a requirement to add in Lego references. Was there ever like a premise where in any given scene you had to mention a certain Lego set, maybe to help sell them at all?
It wasn't presented as like you have to incorporate it into this scene. We had a it wasn't really an official list. It just was in an email, I think, that said like, oh, there's a biplane that we want to put into a movie, and it didn't. We didn't have to do it, but they said like if you can fit it in, and I think the speedboat that's in the movie was on that list. So I think we got the biplane and the speedboat in. And the only other thing I remember was a lighthouse, which did not make it in. Yeah.
There were some really cool sequences. I think the start really stands out as it was like a reference to the Scooby Doo Where Are You episode, Scooby Doo and a Mummy Too, and it was just so cool to see it
Tucker McGee, yeah.
reimagined in Lego style. It makes me crave a Lego Scooby Doo game. But do you remember if there were any other Easter eggs discussed for the movie, or maybe any sequences that were maybe cut out or removed in the concept strays or something like that?
I don't
No,
really. No. They didn't. They don't really push for that so much. I mean, I imagine if there was nothing like that in the script, they would have. But
It was like a 75-page script or something like that.
was it?
I think so.
Yeah. No. Any like inside referencey kind of things are just stuff that we decided to put in there ourselves. There was no mandate from above or anything like that. The only mandate is really you have to follow the format the way, every Scooby Doo starts, with the unrelated crime that's resolved that leads to the new, mystery, and they get there and they split up, and then that sort of formatting. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think it's a really cool movie to speak about, especially at this time of the year when we're going into, we're approaching the summer now. And I think this is like the perfect summer Scooby-Doo movie. And so
Yeah, it's a great movie to screen at a beach party, at a kid's beach party.
yeah, definitely good for those summer vibes. And so you've mentioned a few of your reference points, the beach movies that you watched beforehand, but do you remember any other type of inspirations that could have come from writing a beach party movie, or even just a summer movie in general?
Something like Goonies.
There's a bit of Goonies in there. Yeah. I don't know if that's not a summer movie though.
Yeah.
I think that takes place in winter. But
Not really. I think we were really trying to stay true to that beach party vibe of the 60s,
yeah.
like with the tentacles and
Yeah, that's even the characters are modeled after, I think, the Beach Boys from, what was that movie? Was it Monkey's Uncle?
Yeah, Monkey's Uncle.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the animation studio and all of them did a really good job with,
Yeah.
and the concept art and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course there are limitations for TV movies. Like they don't have the same budget as like the theatrical Lego movies, right? So all that being said, like I think they did a pretty good job with everything.
Yeah, it was a Indian studio.
Oh.
Yeah. They did a really good job, I thought.
Yeah, definitely is a really fun watch. And again, with the whole Scooby legacy as well, I think it was really nice to see the familiar voices come out of almost the different aesthetics of the gang. So, of course, Matthew Lillard, as Shaggy, Frank Welker, Fred. Did your work on the movie require interacting with them at all, or was it a case of submitting the teleplay and seeing how it goes?
Yeah, no, we had no interaction
We were
with the
just
cat.
the writers.
They did ask us if we had any casting ideas
For Dwight Monkfish.
For all the non-main,
Yeah.
for the non-gang characters, so yeah, they asked us for that. And let's see who they what's his name from 30 Rock, Jack McBrayer. He was on the list that we recommended.
Did you play a cop?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the bumbling cop, and I forget who else. I think Gary Marshall was on the list. It was
He
right
was
before Gary
alive
Marshall
at the
died.
time. Yeah.
He was on the list to play the villain. Yeah, I think like I asked for Dick Van Dyke, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
They've all been really good, and it's always really, interesting to hear how the writers kind of imagine the voices being as well, because obviously, studios and casting and things like that can get changed perhaps from what the initial kind of idea was for the character to kind of look and sound and that kind of thing. So it's always fascinating to hear that kind of thing.
Well, when
Can
you're
I-
writing it, it really helps to sort of cast the movie in your head, so you can hear that voice and whatnot. And it makes writing for something like Scooby Doo very easy because, you have those voices. It's like they're so ingrained in you.
Or even if it's like a type of character, like
Yeah.
Amazing. And can I ask, when you were able to watch it back, how close was what you'd imagined the casting to be to how it initially appeared?
Oh, it was great. I think, they all did an excellent job.
yeah.
Certainly turned out really well. It's an incredible movie.
Oh.
And how long did it take for your writing process?
I'd have to look that up, but
Yeah.
it wasn't too long. I
It
think
was like a couple months.
I think it was about 2 months from like pitching it to the final draft, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a quick turnaround. And from kind of your overall time writing on Scooby, is it something you enjoyed? Did you ever kind of think of any other concepts for a Scooby movie that you'd like to have pitched, or is it something you'd like to kind of go back and do again in the future?
Yeah.
We would have definitely liked to do another
Yeah.
one, but so
Yeah.
far they haven't approached us.
Yeah. Well, no, they did.
They did?
Well, me, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But that didn't
They
work
did approach
out.
me, but it didn't
Yeah.
work out. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but I know you guys are, I think you're big fans of the Mitch Watson series.
Oh yeah.
And he was my last boss on the show called Big Nate that is on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. But I was the head writer on that, and yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys interviewed Audie Harrison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Trick or Treat Scooby Doo.
Yeah, the one he actually
Mhm.
approached me to work on one, but then it fell
Yeah,
through. So yeah.
And you also interviewed Sarah Sherman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and we both worked with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Audie was doing stuff. I think he worked on the Haunted High Rise movie that unfortunately kind of fell through with the Hex Girls and stuff. And that was like when I was first told that, my heart like burst into a million pieces, and I was like,
Yeah.
really? The Hex Girls?
Aw.
Like why? It is a shame. But you mentioned Big Nate, and I love Big Nate a lot. We had to, well, we didn't have to. It was just a pleasure to watch some of the episodes because we interviewed Chadney a couple of days ago now about her
Chandni?
role, as
cool.
Sabina Shah and all those other characters. And so, in terms of Big Nate and the more recent projects, is there anything that either one of you or both of you are working on at the moment that you can perhaps talk about or discuss at all?
Nothing that I can talk about,
Yeah.
but next year.
That is amazing. And so where's the best place for people watching this to keep up with the work that you guys are doing?
My website, probably, emilybrundige.com. Because I keep my social media kind of private, and I'm no longer on Twitter, which has become kind of a horrible place. But yeah, my website, I'll definitely, like, when as the projects come out, we'll be posting about them on there. And you, Aaron?
I've sort of
He's, like,
removed
not
myself
on
from the
social
internet.
media.
I try not to have an online presence as much as I
Yeah.
can, which maybe I
So
should.
nowhere.
Yeah. Just try and find me. I dare you.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sure to leave, that website in the description, and perhaps even, the IMDb as well, to see if that becomes updated. So that does conclude all of the questions that we had for you today. Just thank you both so much for the time you've given us and for speaking about these projects, because it's just been an absolute pleasure to speak to you both.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
you guys have been great. You're great interviewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so
you.
much, and you're great guests. And so, I guess to wrap things up for the sake of the audience, thank you so much for watching. If you do want to see more, then please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.